The Lawn Dominion was vast, a sprawling web of star systems bound by fear and brutality. It prided itself on order, discipline, and absolute control. Among its countless worlds, one small human colony barely registered. New Haven, nothing more than dust in the Empire's records. It was a quiet place, carved from the void by stubborn pioneers. Its people were not soldiers, not rebels, just builders, thinkers, dreamers. They raised homes, nurtured families, and lived in fragile peace. But peace meant nothing to the lands. A patrol ship descended, sleek and black against the morning sky, a predator gliding down upon its prey. Inside, 6 armored Lauren enforcers shifted in boredom. There was no reason for this stop, only routine intimidation, a reminder to the lesser races of who ruled the stars. The humans would bow, tremble, perhaps stammer out words of obedience. That was enough. Sergeant Drull, their leader, tapped clawed fingers against his gauntlet as the craft landed on dusty ground. The ramp hissed open, heat from twin suns gleaming off armored plates as the soldiers marched into the main street. Humans stared from shadowed doorways, some frozen, others retreating deeper inside. A few children peeked from behind crates, curiosity momentarily outweighing fear. Drull sneered. Pitiful. Fragile. Live. How had such creatures ever left their homeworld? In movement, a boy no older than 10 stood in the open, clutching a battered ball. Beside him, a younger girl held a stuffed toy tight to her chest. Unlike the adults, they did not cower. They did not bow. They simply looked at the soldiers. Amusement twisted into irritation. "Move along," Drull barked. His guttural voice filtered through the helmet's translator. The boy stood still. A soldier shifted uneasily. "Sir, maybe we should." The ball slipped from the child's fingers. It bounced once, rolling across the dust until it stopped at Drull's boot. A harmless toy. Drull raised his rifle. The shot thundered across the silence. The boy fell. A woman screamed. Someone gasped. The little girl staggered back, staring at her brother's body, confusion frozen on her face. The toy dropped from her hands. Second shot. She collapsed beside him. For one breath, the settlement was still. Then chaos erupted. Doors slammed, mothers pulled children into hiding, voices shouted in panic. None of it mattered. Drull lowered his weapon. "Let that be a lesson," he snarled, stepping past the tiny corpses. "Disrespect will not be tolerated." The squad boarded their ship, indifferent to the horror they had sown. As the vessel rose, smoke curled from rooftops scarred by warning fire. Another nameless day. Another nameless colony. They did not know what they had awakened. Rachel Rose stared at the transmission. The image flickered with static, but she saw enough. She saw the patrol. She saw her son's defiance. She saw her daughter's tiny hand reaching for nothing. She saw the soldier's fire. Her face was still, no tremor, no flicker of expression. But deep inside, something long buried stirred. Something dark. Something old. She had left that life behind. Walked away from shadows and blood. Sworn never to return. Years of silence. Years of restraint. But some lines cannot be crossed. With calm precision, she ended the transmission. Her home seemed colder, sharper in the dim light. She stood, pressed her hand to a panel. Slid open. Black case waited. She carried it to the table, unlatched the seals. The lid lifted with a hiss. Weapons gleamed in the artificial glow. Blades sharpened to impossible edges. Firearms humming with dormant power. Armor reinforced and lethal. The past was not dead. It had only been waiting. The lawn officers monitoring human territories did not notice at first. A missed check-in, dismissed. A dead tracker, routine error. Then the outpost at Aaron 6 went silent. Then Wex Prime's listening post received a broken distress call. Static, shouting, then nothing. Then a battleship's alarms blared. Unauthorized breach. Too late. The crew scrambled as the bridge doors exploded inward. Smoke rolled in. Rachel Rose stepped through. Her boots struck steel with steady rhythm. Her armor, black with crimson trim, drank in the emergency light. In one hand a plasma rifle still glowing. In the other, a serrated blade slick with blood. A veteran officer raised his weapon. He never fired. She was faster than they imagined. Deadlier than they believed possible. One fell, throat opened. Another hesitated, fatal mistake. Rachel moved like a wraith, a phantom of death. A gunshot. A shattered limb. A blade through the chest. In less than a minute, the bridge was silent. She accessed the command console, fingers moving with practiced skill. A message needed sending. A lesson needed teaching. She patched into the LAN command net, tearing through its locks. Across every military channel a transmission appeared. The screen lit. Rachel Rose stood among corpses. Her voice was calm. "You took my children." Her fingers flew across the console, arming the self-destruct. A countdown blinked. "I'm taking everything." The feed cut as she walked away. Moments later, the battleship bloomed into fire. On the LAN homeworld, Supreme Commander Vorgii watched the footage. Mandibles clicked in disbelief. One human. One. His mind reeled. "How? Ooh." An officer stammered, pale with fear. "Sir, it's her." The blood drained from Vor's face. "No, impossible." But it was true. The name spread in whispers. A nightmare. A ghost from the darkest corners of war. Legend. Baba Yaga. Vor's breath shuddered. He had thought it only a story. He had been wrong. And now it was too late. The perimeter defenses fell silent. Turrets smoking wrecks. Inside the command center, Lieutenant Growl barked orders, mandibles twitching, demanding status reports. No answer. One by one the screens went dark. In the smoke a shadow moved. Growl's claws tightened on his rifle. He had heard the rumors. Whispers among the high ranks. And now he believed. They spoke of a human ghost. A predator who walked through fire and left only death in her wake. Soldiers dismissed it as superstition. So had Growl. Until he saw her. She was smaller than he imagined. No towering beast. No hulking brute. Just a woman clad in black armor. Her face hidden beneath a sleek, expressionless helm. She moved like liquid shadow, slipping through the ruins of the outpost with inhuman ease. Growl lifted his rifle, finger tightening on the trigger. He shot first. A searing line of plasma tore across the chamber, smashing into his shoulder. The impact spun him sideways, weapon clattering to the floor. Pain surged through him, but training dragged him back from collapse. He scrambled behind cover, chest heaving, every nerve burning. His 3 remaining soldiers spread out, weapons sweeping every corner. The silence pressed in. She was still there. He could feel it. A chime lit his visor, an incoming feed. The security system had flickered back online. He risked a glance. The monitor showed the entry hall. Bodies scattered like broken dolls, limbs twisted unnaturally. Some gunned down. Others cut apart with blades. Clean, surgical, merciless. She was playing with them. Movement. He zoomed in. She was standing directly before the surveillance drone. Her head tilted. Then, slowly, she lifted one hand and waved. The screen cut to black. Growl's blood froze. A scream burst through comms. One of his men. He spun, heart pounding. Where was she? Another scream. Another rifle crashing to the floor. Then silence. His mandibles clicked despite his will. He swallowed hard. He wasn't a recruit. He wasn't weak. He was a veteran, scarred by a dozen wars. He would not break. A whisper. He spun, firing wildly. Nothing. Cold steel pressed against his throat. Her voice was a whisper, distorted by the helmet. You have 5 seconds to tell me where the next patrol is stationed. He gritted his teeth, forcing steadiness into his tone. You won't escape. The blade pressed harder, skin breaking. 4. He clenched his jaw, blood soaking his shoulder. 3. His pride screamed silence. But his memory screamed truth. He had seen what she could do, too. His pulse hammered against the knife's edge. "Station Omega," he rasped. "Outer rim. Next patrol in 6 cycles." The pressure lifted. She stepped back, vanishing like smoke. His knees trembled, but he forced himself upright. He turned toward her, only to see the pistol rise. No! The shot was clean. She was gone before his body hit the ground. The transmission reached Supreme Commander Vor's flagship within the hour. His claws dug into the command chair as he watched the feed. The room around him was silent. His officers frozen. Rachel Rose moved with terrifying precision, every strike a death sentence. This was not simple revenge. It was eradication. A voice broke the silence, thin with fear. "Sir, your orders." Vor's mandibles clicked slowly. His gaze lingered on the still frame. Her figure over Growl's corpse, calm, patient, hunting. "This is no insurgent," he muttered. "She is something else." The officers said nothing. They didn't need to. They all knew the name. Baba Yaga. Curse. A relic of old wars. A phantom whispered in taverns and among mercenaries. A story meant to scare. But stories didn't leave trails of corpses. Vor straightened, forcing iron into his voice. He was Supreme Commander of the Dominion. He would not fall to one human. He gestured sharply. "Deploy the Omega Hunters." Unease rippled through the chamber. One officer found the courage to speak. "Sir, if the hunters are sent, there will be no prisoners." Vor's mandibles twitched into something near a smile. Precisely. The Omega Hunters were no ordinary force. They were not soldiers, not warlords. They were worse. Each one forged from the galaxy's deadliest assassins and mercenaries. Cybernetically enhanced. Genetically perfected. Stripped of hesitation. They fought not for glory nor for the Dominion, but because killing was all they knew. There were 5, each with a signature. One killed from miles away, never missing. Another flayed victims alive, savoring their screams. One had no voice left at all, lost to mechanical grafts. They carried no names, only designations. Their leader, Omega-1, received Vor's orders in silence. His face unreadable, his eyes black voids. He scanned the data, her kills, her movements, her ambushes. "A single human," he said flatly. "Not a difficult hunt." Vor's growl cut through the comms. "Do not underestimate her." But Omega-1 did not understand fear. He had dismantled armies, slaughtered warlords, erased syndicates without hesitation. He turned to his team. "She will be dead within 48 hours. Rachel Rose was waiting. In the cockpit of her ship Retribution, she watched the cold stars drift. Engines purred, weapons primed, armor sharpened to a monomolecular edge. Her systems tracked the signal she had planted. The Dominion thought they hunted her. Her lips curved faintly. She was hunting them. Her fingers slid across the controls, defense grids alive, blades ready. She had fought killers before. Mercenaries, machines, assassins. She knew how they stalked. She knew how to end them. Soft alert chimed. Multiple inbound ships. No distress signals. No Dominion markings. They were here. She exhaled slowly, flexing her fingers. For the first time in years, she felt truly alive. She killed the outer lights. Darkness swallowed her vessel. And she waited. The hunt had begun. The Omega Hunters slid through space like ghosts, cloaked near invisible. They were the Dominion's sharpest blade, a storm of precision killers. Omega-1 expected a chase. A desperate human fleeing her doom. He did not expect the trap. The moment they entered range, an electromagnetic surge ripped through space. Their sensors blinked to static. And Retribution came alive. Engines howled as Rachel's ship lunged, tearing through the void with impossible speed. Her cannons flared. One hunter vessel vanished in fire, shredded by plasma. Another spun out, thrusters torn apart. Omega-1 did not panic. His voice was calm over the comms. She fights like a machine. Predictable. Guide her into Sector 7. Deploy mines. The enemy ships closed ranks, herding her toward the coordinates. Rachel recognized the trap instantly. Mines detonated in perfect sequence, fire and shrapnel flooding the void. Any lesser pilot would have been vaporized. Rachel rolled hard, thrusters screaming, threading through the chaos like a phantom. One hunter strayed too close. Her sharp turn sent his own mine tearing his vessel into molten wreckage. Inside retribution, Rachel allowed herself a grin. The Omega hunters weren't bad, but not good enough. Omega-1 recalculated. His mind an unfeeling machine. Direct engagement was costly. Solution: ground combat. A transmission cracked through. Omega-3 crippled her stabilizers. Another ship banked in fast, weapons flaring. Rachel knew the play EMP. She diverted all power to shields. Impact slammed into her hull, systems screaming, stars spinning out of control. Omega-1 observed calmly. He did not celebrate. His prey still lived. His final order was curt: prepare ground forces. The landing was brutal. Metal shrieked, sparks scattered, smoke trailing from the wreck. Rachel tore herself free of the harness, ignoring bruises and pain. Weapons in hand, pistol, rifle, blade, she moved with no hesitation. She was already gone when the first Dominion boots hit the soil. Omega-1 and his squad deployed with mechanical precision, scanners sweeping for heat signatures. Fear did not exist in them. They had crushed empires. One human would not end them. Rachel crouched in the wreckage, visor tracking their advance. They were good, coordinated, precise, but precision bred predictability. She thrived on chaos. She waited and struck. The first kill was silent, a swift cut, blood hissing in the cold air. The second screamed, body riddled with plasma before he even turned. Omega-1 registered the losses without emotion. His voice calm. She's using guerrilla tactics. No more separation. Flush her out. Rachel was already steps ahead. She mapped the terrain, controlled the angles, turned the battlefield against them. A sniper's shot grazed her helm. She spun, returned fire. His visor caved in, body crumpling. Omega-2 suppression. Omega-1 commanded. The last hunter unleashed explosives, collapsing rock and sealing her path. Good, they thought she needed an escape. Instead she charged. The Omega hunter was fast. Rachel was faster. She hit low, blade sliding into the gaps of his armor. Gasp, then silence. One remained. Omega-1 advanced without words. Their clash erupted in a storm of fire and steel. Plasma bolts screamed. Blades sparked in arcs of light. He was stronger. She was smarter. He was brutal. She was relentless. He twisted her arm, tried to crush her. She broke free, drove her knee into his ribs. Stagger. One heartbeat. Enough. Her knife slid between helm and armor, deep into the seam. His body stiffened, then fell. Breathing hard, Rachel stood over the last corpse. The Omega hunters were no more. Above, she felt Dominion eyes watching. She knew this was only the beginning. On the Dominion homeworld, Supreme Commander Vori stared at the screens as the hunter's signals winked out. His officers froze in terror. One finally spoke. "Sir, deploy reinforcements." Vori's mandibles clicked. His voice was low, trembling with fury. She erased a team that has never failed. She destroyed an outpost. She is one human. He stepped closer to the display. Rachel's image glared back at him from the ruins of her battlefield. She is no longer a target, she is a war. Within the hour, the Dominion unleashed its fleets. Warships, enforcers, every force they could muster. But the galaxy had seen something new. The Dominion bleed. Whispers spread across shadow networks. Old allies, smugglers, mercenaries. Some owed her debts, others only wanted vengeance. Resistance cells reignited. Pirates toasted her name. Even the Dominion's elites whispered in unease. Rachel Rose was no longer just a mother with vengeance in her heart. She was a symbol. And symbols ignite revolutions. The Dominion had never known fear. It had crushed species, erased worlds, ruled through fire. But now its fleets burned, its soldiers whispered, its commanders froze before flickering screens. Rachel Rose had become more than human. She was myth, terror, storm-made flesh. Her vengeance had sparked wildfire. Now rebellions rose across the stars. Pirates turned their cannons on Dominion fleets. Mercenaries took credits in blood instead. And at the heart of it all, Rachel stood at the helm of retribution, her gaze fixed on Vori's colossal fortress of steel and flame. Citadel Prime. The fortress world. The last bastion of Dominion rule. A city wrapped in unbreakable defenses, layered plasma shields, and walls of gun batteries. 100 fleets had tried to breach it across the centuries. None had ever succeeded. She was going to walk through the front door. The Resistance fleet had gathered, a patchwork armada of scavenged warships, converted freighters, and stolen Dominion dreadnoughts. Outgunned, outmatched, outnumbered. But they had her. Rachel opened the channel, her voice steady, clear. "We take the head off the snake, or we burn trying." The reply was a thunderous chorus across the comms. Captains, pilots, gunners, steel in their voices, ready for what was to come. The Dominion fired first. A lance of plasma split the void, ripping through a Resistance cruiser, tearing its hull like paper. Rachel didn't flinch. She surged retribution forward, threading the chaos as war ignited. The sky burned. Ships collided. Weapons screamed. Wreckage scattered like falling stars. But the Resistance fought with fury the Dominion had never seen. They had purpose now. Rachel had given it to them. Her ship carved through the battle, merciless and precise. Retribution spun between debris and missile locks, impossible to catch, unstoppable in its drive. She felt it, the pull of inevitability, drawing her closer to the surface. To the Dominion's heart. Citadel Prime roared to life. Orbital cannons swiveled, locking targets. Fighter squadrons screamed in, swarming like locusts. Not enough. Rachel unleashed Retribution's main cannons, ripping holes in the blockade. Explosions bloomed, steel and flesh hurled into the void. She dove, atmosphere blazing, alarms wailing as her hull strained. She did not slow. She could not slow. The Citadel rose to meet her, a black crown of towers, bristling with fire. Anti-air batteries spat death into the sky. She plunged straight through. Rounds shredded past, alarms shrieked, the ship shook itself apart. The surface loomed. A last surge of thrust. She slammed the eject. Retribution continued forward, locked on suicide course. Rachel shot free, wind and fire ripping past her as she fell. Impact. The ship exploded in a sunburst of white fury. Shockwaves tore through the Citadel. Towers collapsed. Gun emplacements shattered. Soldiers were flung like dolls. Rachel landed in the wreckage. Boots crunched on scorched steel. Flames danced across her armor. Weapons in hand, she rose. The Dominion's elite guard charged. Rifles raised, guttural voices barking orders. She was faster. Her blade flashed, cutting one down. Her pistol cracked twice, dropping two more. A plasma bolt burned her shoulder. She snarled, fired back, shot clean through a visor. The rest hesitated. She grinned. They fled. She advanced. The Citadel's halls blazed with red light, alarms shrieking. Automated defenses snapped online. She moved like a storm, guns blazing, blades singing, every step leaving bodies behind. At last, the throne room. The doors groaned open. Supreme Commander Vori awaited her. His armor gleamed in the dim light. Towering. Guard. Mandibles clicking in grim amusement. "So," he rumbled. "This is the great Baba Yaga." Rachel stepped forward, smoke curling from her gun. "You killed my children." Vori inclined his head. "Yes." She moved. He was ready. Claws slashed, metal crashed. She dodged barely. His strike split the floor. She fired at his head. He blocked with a gauntlet. Predator against predator. He was stronger. She was faster. A blow crushed her ribs, pain blooming white-hot. She rolled with it, twisted beneath his next strike, blade carving deep into his side. He roared, backhanding her across the chamber. She spat blood, forcing herself up. He loomed, voice calm despite the wound spilling ichor. "Do you think vengeance changes anything?" She bared her teeth. "No." Her hand clenched the detonator at her belt. His eyes widened, too late. The throne room shook as explosives ignited. The citadel's foundation cracked, flames devouring its core. Vori staggered, staring as his empire crumbled around him. For the first time, fear. Rachel rose, steady, blade ready. "You're finished." She lunged. Her knife slashed his throat. He choked, clawing at the wound, sinking to his knees. She didn't hesitate. One last shot to the head. It was over. The citadel collapsed in fire and ruin. Rachel walked through destruction unshaken. Outside, resistance forces crushed the last Dominion holdouts. Their leader was dead. Their empire falling. She reached the platform's edge. Wind howled. The sky burned with victory. Her children were avenged. She let the silence settle, let the weight sink in. Then she vanished into the chaos. The legend of Baba Yaga lived on. And the galaxy would never forget.